my last video, I said that saying any more about black tantrums, vibes, goddammit, would probably result in me getting a migraine. And in this video, it appears I'm going to be channeling my inner masochist yet again. Apparently, there's an article on this website called whereyourvoicemag.com entailing what white people should take into consideration should they want to go to any BLM rallies. After being inspired by Unsung's recent video about a feminist bitching about the dangers of dating faux feminist men, I decided to read to you all. In the last 2 years that I've organized around anti-black violence and within the Black Lives Matter movement, I've witnessed white people showing up more and more to protests and rallies. At first, when we were protesting for Mike Brown for months in 2014, personally, I was a lot more open to welcoming white allies who wanted to come out and help us fight. My personal/political naivete and the need for more bodies trumped questioning their motives in the heat of the moment of something so important. But after a while, I started realizing that trying to work with white people in direct actions became extremely triggering and tasking. I would witness many people show up and want to be in the front, not to protect us, but to be visible and be in a photo. There would be swarms of white anarchists showing up chanting, "Fuck the police," completely disrupting our original chants and heightening the potential for violence against the black protesters. Easily, though, the anarchists almost outdo the groups of All Lives Matter folks who come out to walk in the protest but miss the entire point, even when most of the black people call them out. Then there's the white folks that show up ready to antagonize us and insert their opinion about how black people are navigating their pain and oppression from, "We all just need to love each other," and "This is a class issue," and "No more violence," insert MLK quote. How very dare people show up at a rally when they don't share the same skin tone as me? And they even have the very audacity to quote a known civil rights leader who only wanted people to get along and work toward the betterment of our society. Oh, dear me, I do declare I'm getting the vipers. To many black folks at these rallies, though, we are openly and publicly grieving. Our protests and rebellions are out of channeling our trauma into action that is a form of healing, strategy, and moving through pain. We are marching, yelling, singing, physically and mentally exhausted because white people are killing us. So when I see white people show up to rally excited and smiling, ready to march like it's a hobby, I'm disgusted and absolutely fucking livid. When I witness white people taking up space, pushing myths of whiteness as political truth, or using white saviorism to reframe their power and privilege, I'm ready to fight. The fact that white people show up to these rallies as if it's a fucking BBQ, 'cause you know y'all don't have cookouts, chanting Assata's words, saying, "We have nothing to lose but our chains." I'm actually re-traumatized by how comfortable white people are in not doing anything to change their violence. These marches are funerals for us. Black people are being murdered, violated, and oppressed every day. We are literally in mourning every minute of our lives. I just love the fact that this woman is trying to take the depths of people who she'll never meet and twist them to fit her sad, warped little agenda. I also love how re-traumatized she is because Whitey's decided to show up to a rally out of curiosity. And as we all know, yelling at people over the internet is totes mature and not at all indicative of petulance or lack of empathy, okay? By the way, the author's name is Ashley Shackelford, but for the duration of this video, I'm going to call her Fatty McRatchet. These realities alone prove that intentionality is everything at this point. Right now, we're in a political moment in which a lot of our intersecting black movements are at a boiling point. This work has been a continuous effort of many generations, over many centuries of anti-Black oppression, but right now we are at an evolution and mutation of what anti-Black racism looks like in this socio-political moment, and how we have analyzed its depth level within our society, institutionally and interpersonally. Whatever the fucking that's supposed to mean. White people are 400 years too fucking late for a round of applause for a damn tweet with a hashtag or for showing up to a damn rally. So many white folks use politicization, I don't even know if I pronounced that right, and frankly, I don't even care, around Black Lives Matter to perform wokeness because they are still praised in doing so. There is a special snowflake card issued to every white person who goes above existing in silence. But the reality is, even when white people speak up, those words are often plagiarized from us. They're almost always given without citation or credit to whichever Black person they heard or read it from, and they are almost always in a position to do more than just talk. Here are the things that matter the most at this point in time for white people who want to show up to a Black Lives Matter protest. I don't know. The second paragraph caught my attention because of these words. Even when white people speak up, those words are often plagiarized from us. Yeah, because using the words of an infamous cop killer is totes not plagiarizing at all when Black people do it. Number 1. Ask yourself why you need to go to a Black Lives Matter protest. Unless Black organizers have specified that you need to come to a rally for buffers against the police as a legal observer or to collect other white people, why are you going to a protest when you're the oppressor? If you really believe that Black Lives Matter, ask yourself if you're willing to die for us and to die to dismantle this system. Are you willing to learn everything possible about anti-Blackness and its many forms so that you can dismantle it? Are you willing to give up everything you have to make sure Black people can survive, thrive, and be safe? If you cannot answer yes to all of these questions, you don't need to be at a protest. There are more ways to actually use your privilege and more ways to challenge the anti-Black violence embedded within you without being at a protest that you serve no purpose for. Your presence only triggers the Black people that are frightened by you. And you actually don't change anything by being at a protest if there is no work to match your visibility. I don't know what reality she might be living in, but the reality I live in entails me trying to become an adult who relies on our mind, wit, and realism in order to function. I also don't believe that financial reparations are necessary for anyone of any race. There, I said it. Come at me, brah. Also, if you're frightened by somebody because they don't have the same skin tone as you, there's this thing called a mental asylum. You should totes check yourself into it to tweet. I'm just saying. Number 2, reparations. Nothing you have is yours. Let me be clear. Nothing you have is yours. Also, let me be see-through. Reparations are not donations because we are not your charity, tax write-off, or good deed for the day. You are living off of stolen resources, stolen land, exploited labor, appropriated culture, and the murder of our people. Nothing you have is yours, in case you didn't hear that the first time. Reparations for us are not only necessary because we are economically harmed, exploited, and stolen from. While the violence against us is never acknowledged, but because in order for us to create and move work for Black liberation, it requires resources and money. I'm sorry, what was that part about Black people not being charities and tax write-offs for white people again? We live in a white supremacist capitalist world, so ain't no spinning webs of lies around money isn't the answer. It is because money and exploitation and power are interconnected concepts of violence. Y'all spent hundreds of years selling, mutilating, raping, and beating our bodies in labor, but you think money doesn't matter to our freedom and liberation? Cute. Write me a check for this shade because it comes with 400 years of trauma. Asking people to sacrifice their lives and belongings for you just because of their race is the very epitome of selfishness. You know what else is selfish? Guilt tripping them into believing they're evil just because their presence will set off some imaginary triggers in your mind. We need housing, transportation, food, clothes, free space for meetings and workspace. We need laptops, cell phones, encrypted systems for communication, solar power, and land. Stop playing. Y'all really thought pulling up to the protest in your Hyundai was going to be enough? Nah. You have to give us everything we need and more because even if it means you go without, it doesn't matter because that's how we've been living for 400 plus years. Reparations will never be negotiable. So if you're not willing to talk money, you're not here for Black Lives Matter as a movement or for us as individuals. Teal Deer version. Give me everything I want, when I want it, and how I want it. What do you mean I can't get my every need catered to? See, this is why Black Lives Matter. Number 3. Intentional acts of disruption and shifting of structural power. What would happen if white allies teamed up to shut down and boycott white businesses instead of black folks having to do it? What would happen if white allies gave all their money to black folks? What would happen if white allies held businesses that profited from slave labor and slave money accountable? What would happen if white allies shut down police stations and highways across the nation for Black Lives Matter until each state demilitarized and defunded the police? What if white allies used violence as a tactic against other white people perpetuating violence against blacks? Shifting structural power is key. Reparations falls in line with that as well. I don't want to see white people holding up a damn sign. I want to see white people doing work that will get them killed because that's how much they want to dismantle anti-blackness. Are you willing to die for us? Because black folks have a death count of 7 million and up. Citation needed! Are you willing to kill for us? Because we get called violent for protesting peacefully. At this point, ain't no white allyship, B. You either an accomplice, and even then I don't trust you, or you ain't shit. Basically, Fatty McRatchet here is asking white people to practically condemn themselves to a blood eagle in order to appease their almighty melaninated overlords. It's not enough that these adult babies want the police defunded and demilitarized. And no, I'm not posting a link to that spoiled twit speech. I will, however, post the definition of a blood eagle for those of you who are interested. And why is it that SJWs want every business that allegedly profits from slave labor to be held accountable? If these people had read the fourth Harry Potter book, they would have come across the house elf Winky, who, after being let go by her master for a crime she didn't commit, fell into a deep, drunken depression because servitude was the only life she'd ever known. Number 4. See, number 1. If you think you need to be at a rally because you care so much, then why haven't you done the work away from social media and camera crews? Doing the work behind scenes and working with black folks who live this and breathe this every day would convince you how much you never need to be at a protest unless you have a specified designated role. Wow, gee, thanks a lot, Fatty McRatchet, for speaking for every black person everywhere, including me. You know, it's not like I have this thing called a mind or anything. You know, I'm just part of the hive mind. Ask yourself if you care more what the world thinks of you or if you care about the safety and protection of black lives. What is the truth, boo? If you do decide to go to a protest, be ready to write checks and give up your car keys. Be ready to connect with other white people to start planning a highway shutdown so that you can involve yourself with a high risk that would harm us more than we do it. Like I said, if you're not about this shit, don't go. Whiteness operates in a way that means using your privilege for good often requires black folks to still be in a position to be saved or in need. We don't need white saviorism. We don't need white people to speak for us. We don't even really need white people to show up to rallies. We need our reparations. We need intentional disruption that involves high risk, and we need y'all to stop playing. And we come once more to the center of the shrubbery maze. White people everywhere, don't show up at our rallies, but by all means, donate every last penny you have to fund our whims and fantasies. I mean, who cares about the brutal past of the Italians, the Armenians, the Romani, or the Irish? Who cares about the French and Germans and Belgians and their recent attacks at the hands of Muslims? Who even cares about the Swedish who are told to capitulate to their rapists? They're not ethnic enough. They don't deserve our attention. Only we deserve our attention. I've said all I can say on this thing. Like I said, if you want to read this article for yourself, you can do so. You can do so because I will post a link below, as well as the definition of a blood eagle for those of you brave enough to try looking at it. Until next time, bitches, I'm LissaChelle, and I'll see you in hell. Peace the fuck out.